Hi guys, it's your host Sabrina of About This Aging Thing. Black don't crack, but what about our sex, health, interest, and truth? Well, this month I've been doing a series on grief, and I'm going to continue that, and we will get back to sex, health, interest, and truth in September. But I've been called to do this, and so I am doing it. No, I am not a certified anything grief counselor or anything. I unfortunately have experienced a lot of grief, and a lot of people have asked me to talk about it. And so I'm just sharing what I've shared with other people on YouTube and with you guys, with the viewers. So I wanted to talk today about caregiving, right? So a lot of people are caregivers now, especially once we hit that 50 plus and we go up higher. You know, y'all know I'm much older. Our parents get older, our family members get older, even maybe our spouses, and we end up taking care of them. And so I wanted to talk about that a little bit. I've been a caregiver at a young age for my brother, helping my mom out with my brother, and a bit of a caregiver with my mom. She's pretty fiercely independent, though. She didn't let me do too much. But I was definitely responsible for my mom. You know, I had to have a power of attorney. I had to take care of all of her, finances, her house. I had to do all those things. And then my husband, I was a caregiver physically for him for the most part. And so I did things that I never thought I would do. Couldn't even imagine doing it. And I did them, and I would do it again. But I wanted to talk about those of us how hard it is. Like, I think that caregivers are not really recognized as they should be. I know there are caregiving support groups, and I know there are things out there for caregivers. I think a lot of us don't even know that exists. But there are support groups for caregivers, people that you could talk to who are going through what you're going through, or who have gone through it, who can hear you, support you, and understand exactly what you're talking about. Because a lot of times we say things like we are doing it, and people go, "Oh, I know what you're talking about," and they really don't, because they've never cared for anyone that was ill or that was terminal. I don't know that one is worse than the other. I would have to say that terminal is probably worse, because you are kind of in the you have an understanding that person is probably not going to be who they used to be, and usually you know how long they're going to be there. But I wanted to talk about, some people have guilt when they're caregivers. They have guilt when they get tired. They have guilt when they are, like, someone said to me, I was stuck between praying that they got better and praying for God to take them if they're not going to get better, because I was so exhausted. And she was like, I wouldn't tell anybody this but you, but like, I felt so guilty with that prayer. I said, there's nothing wrong with that prayer. If you prayed that God either take that person because you're tired of seeing that person suffer, first of all, and then you were exhausted, versus or heal them, I think that's a fair prayer. I think that's a fair thought process. You want them to either be better or stop suffering. And if not suffering anymore meant that they transition, I don't think anything's wrong with that prayer. Selfishly, we always want people to be here, right? So when they are obviously struggling, when the doctors tell you they are in so much pain, and the only thing they can do for them is to make them comfortable, and you're still praying for them. Now, praying for a miracle is one thing, but praying that they still stay here with you no matter what condition they're in is a whole nother, right? And it's very selfish. We don't feel as selfish at the time because we don't want to lose that person. I get it. I get that. I had to learn that myself when my brother was passing away, to just say, it's okay to go. Because when I first got to the hospital, I was begging him not to leave me, right? Begging him. Knowing the nurses said he hadn't tried to speak all day. He hadn't moved all day. My mom had been there all day. My mom was like, it's time for you to come to the hospital. And he tried to move when I got there. He tried to speak when I got there. And the nurse was like, he hadn't done that all day. Well, we were very tight, right? I shared that in another segment. We were very close. And so selfishly, I wanted my baby brother to stay. I wanted him to be here. I didn't care what condition he was in. I did care, of course, that he got better. But the selfish part of me was, in the condition he was in at that moment, I was like, I just want you to stay. Not thinking about how much he was suffering, right? And so when it hit me, when I saw him and I saw where he was, and it just hit me, I said, it's okay for you to go. That was one of the hardest things I've ever said out loud to anyone. And as soon as I said, it's okay for you to go, he took that last breath and he was gone. And I thought about the care my mom gave him, the sacrifices my mom made to be with him, the move that she had to make. She had to move all the way to Minnesota to be with him. And she would do it all over again. I knew that she would. But there is a guilt there. There's a guilt as a parent. There's a guilt when it's your spouse. There's a guilt when it's a sibling and you feel like it should have been you and not them. You have survivor's guilt, like how come they got sick and you didn't? You feel like they were a better person than you were. You made all the wrong decisions. They did everything right. You're still here. They're not. Like, it's so many emotions that people go through. But what I want to say is that you shouldn't. I don't want to say you shouldn't. This is what I'm going to say. When you're taking care of someone, right? You got to try to stay in the moment. Try to take it day by day and accept help when people ask you, can I help you? I know that was a hard thing for me with my husband because I thought nobody could take care of him like me. So I didn't want to leave him for more than 15, 20 minutes. And I never went more than 5 minutes up the street to the store when somebody would come by. Like, I'm going to run to the store. I'll be right back. And I'd be breaking my neck to get back. So afraid that something would happen while I was gone and that person wouldn't be able to handle it. Or he would leave while I was gone and I didn't get to say goodbye. It was just so crazy the way I was feeling. So I just want to say that it's normal to feel those things. It's normal to pray for peace. It's normal to pray for relief. You shouldn't feel guilty when you're tired. There are so many people who walked away from people who were sick. I have a friend who was always really healthy. All of a sudden she started getting really, really sick. And her boyfriend was trying to hang in there. And he eventually told her, I can't do this anymore. Like, it looks like you're never going to get better. I don't have the bandwidth to do it. Now, a lot of people talk badly about him, and he got a lot of cursing out, a lot of bad phone calls from the girlfriends of the friend, right? I decided not to judge him. I was disappointed that he made that decision, but I decided not to judge him because you really don't know what people are going through and what the triggers are for them seeing someone sick. Like, we didn't know his story. Right? We didn't know why it was so hard for him. Unfortunately, a lot of people are just not natural nurturers, right? And so they don't know how to nurture you. They don't know how to love you through it. And then when they can't do it the way we want them to do it, then we get mad at them and we judge them. So I made the decision not to make the phone call that some of my friends were making and cursing them out. And just not to tell him how disappointed I was because it's his decision, and she had all of us and she had her family as well. And it was unfortunate for him because, he missed out on a beautiful, wonderful person who eventually got much better. But that's on him, right? But I don't want you to feel, it's okay, we're human. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to feel like, wow, I don't know if I could do another day of this. I don't know if I could change another adult diaper. I don't know if I could feed them one more day. I just don't know. But so it's okay to do that, but back up from it so that you're only giving that person who is fighting for their life or their healing the best of you. Back up and try, if you can, to get someone else to help you, to give you some relief so you can take some breaks and you won't feel so overwhelmed. It was really helpful to me to know that so many people were there to support me. Even though I try to do most of it by myself, this is my personality. But it was really helpful just to know that people were there. So for those of you who are not caregivers, who know people who are caregivers, I would ask you to please give them a little bit more support. Please call them a little bit more. Sometimes you feel like, I don't want to call because I know they're taking care of this person and they don't have time to talk. And just send them a text, send them a message, tell them that you're there for them. Come by, bring them some food, tell them I'll sit here with the person while you just go in another room. They don't have to leave the house, just to be able to go somewhere and sit for a minute and do something for themselves for an hour. It's extremely helpful. So push through the feeling of you feel like you're imposing, and don't ask. If it's a really good friend that you've known for years and you know y'all love each other and y'all like sip, don't even ask, what can I do? Just go. Just go and say, hey, I'm on my way. I'm bringing this. Don't even give them the option to say, no, you're not. Okay. If they don't really want you there, then just go by, drop off something, give them a hug and say, and don't take it personal. When people don't want you to come by, it's never about you. It's about what they're going through. They might not want you to see the person that they're taking care of in the condition that you see them in. Maybe you've known them forever and you know that they used to look like this and they used to act like that, and now they're so sick and they don't want to be seen. Respect that part. Okay, don't push yourself into the room, but just maybe you can go and clean up their kitchen, mop their floor, just something that doesn't impede on their privacy, but they know that you're there and you came and gave them some support. You made the house feel better. You cleared their home, whatever it is, just something that gives them something. Have their grass cut if you know that the husband used to always cut the grass and now the grass is up to their knees and he's sick. Like maybe you could send somebody over to cut the grass. There's just so many things you can do to support a caregiver without disrespecting what they would like to have done. Some people don't know what they need. I've had somebody say to me before, oh, I'm so overwhelmed. I can't do this. I can't do that. And then when I say, well, what do you need? They don't know. Like they don't know how to tell you what they need. So kind of like pay attention. And they go, oh, I see you have dishes in the sink. I'll go ahead and stack your dishwashing for you. You'd be surprised how much that would help someone, just to help them keep their space in order. Do not feel guilty, caregivers, when you get tired. Take care of yourself. It's like the oxygen thing on the plane. You know how they say put the oxygen on yourself first and then put the oxygen on the person next to you? It's the same exact thing. If you deplete yourself, then you're not going to be any good to take care of that person who needs you the most. So make sure that you put yourself first so that you can take care of the person that you love the most.